Hello and welcome to a new tutorial. I am Nilofer, your watercolor artist. Today we're going to be painting a mountain landscape. So let's get started. To begin with, we are going to be sketching a mountain on this piece of paper. I've attached my paper on a board. You can use any exam board. Divide the paper into half. You can keep the first half, the top half, a little bit bigger than the bottom one. Make a triangle shape, and then just below the line that you had added, make another line. Keep one finger space and make another line. The first line, add a little zigzag or a jagged lines to it. Then add the top of the mountain. We'll slice it into a slight half from the left side and add another set of jagged lines on the top. That's it. Keep it simple. This sketching of this painting is going to be very simple and easy. So another set of mountain which is reflecting in your water, but this time make a very light mountain, and we can add a small little tiny boat over there. That's it. You can increase the height of the mountain a little bit, just redraw over it. That's it. Make the mountain from the side will be one finger in depth. Now let's begin with ultramarine for our sky. I'm going to wet only the side, the top of the part, not make sure that there's no water entering the mountain or the bottom area, only on the top area. We'll add water, nicely spread the water all around. Then take and add one layer of ultramarine on the top. One swipe, again 2 swipes of I'm going to add color, tilt the board a little, hold the board at a level and let the color seep down. When the color seeps down, you get a lovely granulation of the color. You can also add some kind of tape on the back of your board so that your board is levitated and you can get a height while you're painting your sky or your background. You can see how the color is coming down, seeping down. Looks beautiful. Now I'm going to use a scarlet lacquer for adding a little beautiful rosy color near the mountain, because when in the cold visions you'll get these beautiful lovely reddish sky, and it looks beautiful when it mixes with your blue. That's it. And then you can remove the background, you can remove the levitation from the back, the height from the back, and then place your board on the down. And we're going to work on the bottom area where the now let's add water and work on the bottom area. We would start with adding the water, equally spreading into all of the second half of the mountain. Do not touch the top part because we need to keep it as it is. That's going to be the snow part, so we're not going to touch it. I'm going to switch to just going to add color right now over here. I'm adding burnt sienna and a mix of burnt sienna, a little bit of raw umber. Now add the color where at the end of the jagged line, not on the white area, just below the white area. Keep a tissue paper at hand, and after adding the color, make sure you add more color where the jagged line is and a little less in the bottom. Take a tissue paper, and now we'll remove the color from here. We're keeping the little darker area on the top where the snow of the mountain ends, and where the nice brown mountain will come in. And now I'm going to take the tissue paper and slowly dab and remove the excess color. We want to create a nice cloudy effect, so we're going to slowly, very nicely and slowly dab it. Do not add too much pressure when you are dabbing the tissue paper. Do it very slowly and softly, and then just swipe down and remove the excess color. Make sure that there is a nice difference between the top layer and the center layer that we have added. And again, I'm going back in with some raw umber and burnt sienna and adding a little bit of color and then dabbing it just to give that little highlight of your cloudy area or something. Let's go back in with some water and add a little nice fresh set of water at the bottom. Again, if any color is seeping in from the mountains, from the sky or the mountain in each other, take a damp brush and remove that excess of color. Anywhere you feel you want to add a little softer touch, always use a damp brush to remove the color. Now at the bottom again we will use the same set of colors, starting from a little darker tone of ultramarine, and I've also mixed a little Persian blue to it to get a little more deeper color in it. So add the color and then slowly dab the color and remove the excess of color to create that nice soft edge. Going back in with some burnt umber and burnt sienna, and then adding the color near the lake. Now again I'll switch to a chisel or a flat brush and add some nice dark strokes to give that water effect, and slowly blend in the color that we have already added, so that I don't need to take extra color from my palette. I don't need to take any extra color. There's already so much color in my on the paper. I can just take a damp brush and just blend them in. Now take in some chisel brush. Like I said, I like using this chisel brush, but you can also use a flat brush and add these little strokes that will give you a nice depth to your water. Some very fast strokes, but very simple. And then add a little bit of color on the top, just where before the horizon line is. That's it. And just these are a little bit of darker strokes to create nice depth in the above painting. Here I am completely using dry brush strokes, and these dry brush strokes is like there's hardly any water in the brush. I'm just brushing it off to give that nice dry effect, and you get a lovely shadow effect using that. Use that on the top of the mountain. It is almost dried. You can see how lovely that effect is. Like a 6 number brush. I'm switching to a thinner brush,
which has a nice tip on the top.
I'm using some silver brush,
and I'm going to start adding some layers where my city is placed. This is my city silhouette. I'm going to add some layers.
Here we are doing the city, and for the city silhouette, this lovely brush, this thin brush works fantastic. So you can use any thin brush. Just add the color and then start adding little details like little lines with small buildings, and with a darker tone of color. You can mix a little bit of gray or a black to your brown to get that little nice saturation in your color. Add the little lines. These lines of the city will give a good impression of the city silhouette. Go back up and add some dry brush strokes again. Also for effect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some same color and add little sprinkles in the middle area. This sprinkle can be of the same color, the brown or the burnt sienna. You can keep a paper on the top so that the sprinkles don't go up into your mountain. Just a little simple set of sprinkles will give you a beautiful effect for your city. Make sure there's not too much water when you're adding the sprinkle. A very light dabs on your brush.
Tone here.
Now we take in some extra darker color, same dark color, add it on the jagged lines of the mountain, and slowly take a damp brush and blend it. Just use this blending technique is very important in watercolor, and it helps you to give you lovely shadows and depth effect. And you can see how these depth have created using a simple blending techniques. Now for the mountains, I'm going to take some very light ultramarine color. Make sure that you are using a very diluted version of the ultramarine and apply it in the simple strokes where around your the brown effect, and dab some color. If you see this excess of color, just dab it. Don't keep too much color on the paper. We don't want the whole mountain to lose the effect, the impression of the white. So I'm going to add it on the sides and on the top of it. Now let's dive into the boat. The bottom area has completely dried, and that's why I'm going in and starting with my paint spray. I've added only an outline of the boat, and I'm going to take a damp brush and blend the color. So that gives you a nice beautiful blended color for your boat, not too dark and not too light. Then take some yellow and add it into the middle area to give you a nice sunshine effect over there on the boat. Then add some brown strokes just below the boat to give you that shadow effect and blend it again. Blending is very important in all cases. Add some more ultramarine over there, and then take some tissue paper and dab it and remove the excess of color. Just equally spread the color a little and keep some white spaces over there. Then just some few more strokes on the sides, on the left side, and that's it. Now with the angular brush or a flat brush, we'll add some darker strokes and then add a little bit of dry brush strokes from both the edges. Now let's zoom in and add in some details to our boat. Final little touches with using paint spray. Since the whole area has dried, you can add some more details. Maybe a little a man sitting over there and rowing his boat. Just use a simple paint spray, no other color. Let's end the painting with some birds, because without the birds the whole painting looks really incomplete, I feel. Make sure the birds are very tiny. They are just like your nail, just as small as your nail, not too big, because you have to make sure the proportion of your birds and your mountain is equal and they are not different. The birds cannot be bigger than mountains. Finally, don't forget to add your beautiful signature on the painting anywhere you like. And thank you so much for watching, and if you try this tutorial, do tag me or do share with me on Instagram or via email. I would love to see your work. Thank you so much again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next week with a brand new tutorial. Take care.